All right, Byron. So tell us the coolest news that you've heard in the last week of AI, or maybe you should introduce yourself. What's your name? Byron Smith, engineer extraordinaire.
My name is Byron Smith. Spent years and years in engineering and transitioned into app development, and which ties into AI. Spend basically all day, every day, facing AI and what I can do with AI, and I'm using it in my life. And if anybody's not using AI in their life throughout the day, they're missing it right now.
So Byron, what's the biggest thing you use it for? I mean, I use it to help write poems and stuff for the script, but what's your the most time saving, whatever activity you use it for?
I don't know that any one individual item is a massive time saving. It's a little bit of time in every.
Okay.
So if I'm writing code and apps and laying something out, when you're processing something in your head and you're laying that out in your head and you're like, hey, I want to do this, then I want to do that. In the time that it takes you just to process that in your head, if you're just typing it out or writing it out, writing down what you're thinking, when you do that in an AI system, when you press enter, by the time you get done just writing it out, you have an answer and another page. So it's almost like having a code reading.
Yeah. So you're a engineer, mechanical engineer by trade, by training. You trained in Auburn University, is that correct?
That's it.
So give us not the engineer answer, but okay, I'm Mr. Joe. I've never heard of AI before. How does AI work? Like, what exactly is it?
So what they've done is they've taken, okay, the way AI works is you basically ask it a question and it has been trained on all of the different websites of the world. And it's going to basically prove that and give you back an answer. So it's essentially a smart Google. If you want to simplify it in the smallest possible way.
So it's like the computer brain is processing your question and it's spitting out the answer.
Correct.
Okay. So what is obviously we have ChatGPT, which is OpenAI. We have Gemini, Llama 3. I think DeepSeek's the new one. DeepSeek's the new one.
DeepSeek is pretty slick.
Have you been using it in your day-to-day grind?
I asked ChatGPT and DeepSeek a mathematical word computation problem. So it's 98 minus 102 equals 96, which is obviously incorrect. And the question I asked, it was remove one digit and make the equation correct. ChatGPT came back in almost seconds and gave me something that was not mathematically correct and didn't even solve the problem. And I added numbers here, and it was like I didn't understand it. And I said, hey, you failed, give me something else. Came back and thought about it again and gave me something else. Again, it's all right. I go to DeepSeek and I ask it the question, and it thought, and the way DeepSeek works is it actually gives train of thought answers while it's thinking. So it will actually go, hey, they said this, but that's not quite right. So maybe we'll try this. And then it's like, hey, we'll go through this equation and move each individual number trying to solve a problem. And it's actually giving you a train of thought, which is like how our brains work.
Sure.
And it never actually solved the problem. The way to solve the problem is you actually take the 1 in front of 102 and make it an exponential. And it was trying to just go pluses and minuses, removing an digit around.
It's very interesting.
So in that, it's in what?
No, yeah, go ahead. No, that's just very interesting.
It's very interesting. It died for about 5 minutes before it finally came up with a few different ways of potentially solving the problem. But it knew that it wasn't right. Where ChatGPT said it was right and it was wrong.
So it didn't know it was actually, it knew it never figured out the right answer.
Correct.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So when I think of
It's actually better to know that you're wrong, that you're wrong or you can't figure something out than figure something out
the wrong way.
the wrong way.
Yeah.
Like to give a wrong answer, it's better to say, I don't know that.
Right.
I don't know how to solve it.
Yeah.
That's actually a healthier,
It's smarter.
more, that's a smarter, more intelligent answer than just, I agree. That's pretty clever.
It went up my ranks a few off of that.
Wow, glad.
But that was the first biggest massive change between the two. Otherwise, that put them in the same playing field.
So the chat and the DeepSeek, are you familiar with like the pricing structure on both of them?
I am in the premium pro level of ChatGPT. I'm in the free version of DeepSeek. I don't actually know if they offer any sort of premium version of DeepSeek.
I know they're charging by like million tokens or whatever they charge by, but I did not.
So that's if you tie it back into an API.
Okay.
So if you're more to a website, it's free. ChatGPT is free as well, but ChatGPT has premium versions where you can pay more money and get access to the higher models and those types of things.
Yeah. So you just mentioned API, like the average listener or someone that's listening for the first time that may not be computer savvy. So if I go to a website and type something in and AI is trying to find the solution for me, can you kind of explain what an API is and how an API works?
So in that case, if you're on a website, APIs aren't used. APIs are used if you're running a company or a business and you want to tie in AI into your company, you would use the API to link into ChatGPT in the background. So it's really something that computer programs with operating just use.
Got it. Yeah. So, for example, in my past life, we've processed with some customers via EDI, so electronic data interchange. So essentially, there were these screens they would transmit to you, and you would have similar formats. Both of you would be able to translate an order. So you'd send you an order, and you'd know where the purchase order was going to be, where the quantity was going to be, et cetera. Bring that data into your system, allowing you to then put it into whatever your resource program is, like SAP. And then if you went to people like the more advanced, like Amazon would utilize APIs on the seller side of their business. And you could essentially, if you had a back end, Brent, that was selling, aged garlic, right? Like out of your US Med clinic, and you're like, hey, I want to be able to offer this for sale via Amazon seller, and I already have a way to fulfill it in my background. They would use an API to translate an order from Amazon into your system so that it would trigger you to print a pick tag and go pick that product and ship it to your customer. So presumably very similar here, that you could essentially use the computing power of this AI service in your, like, hosted, and you'd be able to use it, and it looks like a front end for you, but it's really going in the background and doing the research and the analysis back in ChatGPT, or whatever program you're using. Is that fair to say, Byron?
Very, very, very accurate.
Okay. That's it's interesting that they only charge for those tokens though, which means they're really not looking for you and me and Byron to be the main source of their income. It sounds like it's more,
Or maybe it is. Maybe all the tokens add up. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
But I know there's two different types of token charges too.
Okay.
Like a regular, like chat token, like the chatbot token, is a lot cheaper than like the thinking token.
Okay.
So if
Correct.
you're given a
So-
complex question and it has to think about it, that's a much more expensive.
So dive into that, Byron. Like, what's the difference there?
They're essentially different models.
Okay.
So when ChatGPT came out, they were on ChatGPT 3, then it was 3.5, then it's 4, then it's 4. And it's like they keep changing. Now they're bringing in thinking.
Okay.
The newest model is always going to be the highest token. The older models will always be the fastest and cheapest. So from a developer standpoint of what you're trying to use, you got to understand which one's going to give you the right answer
Yeah, like
or value.
how much computational power you need for it, or how much algorithm power you need for it.
Okay.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool. I mean, so from a consumer standpoint, like, for instance, inside of ChatGPT, you go to the ChatGPT app. There's an app called Descript.ai, and that is the video editing service. Allegedly, you can have it create a fully AI video based on a script that you write. So, like, I could write my morning show script, and then it would spit out something. I'm assuming, graphic.
It would generate you like talking on the microphone and
Yeah,
chit chatting about your items.
presumably. And I haven't been able to test that fully, but I know that it will allow you to basically take your video and your audio, and it creates a text transcript of the video and audio. If you record a video, upload the video, and then you go over to the left-hand side and it's got the words. You delete the words you want gone, and it edits the video for you to take out those words, uhs and ums and pauses. It just edits those out. Now, that may not be very, computation, heavy. It may not be a heavy lift, right, for a computation standpoint, but it is a cool feature for people who are trying to get into video editing but don't want to learn Adobe Premiere or whatever it is.
That's pretty cool. So is there an industry out there, Byron, you think that's not going to get touched by AI?
I'm going to tell you the industry that needs to embrace as fast as possible. The married men.
The married men? So we can cut down our...
I'm going to tell you, it is going to change drastically. It's like the best communicator in the world. So I go in there, do a speech to text, bring out a conversation, and ask, "Hey, make this a little nicer." It does. I send it to her, and she's like, "That was great. I agree completely."
Hey,
Hey, that works.
it does. So there's a,
And then she's going to be mad at you when she finds out she's using AI, that you're using AI to communicate to her.
She's not that.
Because
She knows that.
go through you.
that's funny.
Yes.
What?
It's been genuinely wonderful.
Anna's writing songs now. She's like a songwriter, poet. She writes stuff on the...
Yeah.
She's been doing it for years, but she's been big into songwriting now. And so I was like, oh, I can write a song. I'll pull up ChatGPT and, whip one out because I'm horrible at writing songs. And I'm like, this will be easy. And she's like, oh, no, that'll ruin the song because it's not human manufactured, lyrics. It's AI generated. So it's not the same. I go, okay, it makes sense.
I mean, so there's an entire industry called Songfinch. Local artists, like small-time artists, go on this app and they sign up to write songs for people. You go and tell your story to them, and they write a song for you, record it, and you have it. I did it with Jenny. Like, I had a whole song written or whatever.
Did you surprise her with it?
Yeah. At Christmas, her mom cried. It was awesome. It was a great thing. Like, it made me sound like a genius. But now I'm looking at it and going, like, 2 years later, I could have went to ChatGPT, wrote the exact same thing in there, and got a song back for free. and then, went to one of the local guys and, hey, let me give you the $300 and you report it.
Yeah, those guys are just printing money right now.
Oh, I guarantee it.
Because they're using chat to write it.
Yeah. Well, they may be getting that written for them.
Or the AI may be even writing the song now
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
and
Like,
singing it.
you never know. There's actually there's another app I saw that you can record your voice, and it's like Duplicate Me is what it's called,
Oh, that's cool.
and it'll create your podcast for you. So like, I wanted to tell a story.
Dude, what are we doing here?
I mean, if we were just doing, audio only, it probably would work. I don't want it. I don't want it deep faking my mannerisms.
we could do AI like, what does it say? Byron Smith driving a car.
That's right.
Brent Harris sitting in a chair spinning a little bit, and Jeffrey just sitting over there looking cool as a cucumber, and it whips us out. And this is the podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe this isn't even real. Maybe this is AI generated.
You never know. Honestly,
Yeah.
could be.
So pretty soon we're gonna be like living in,
We're in Aruba, and it
Yeah.
looks like we're still here at the Square every day.
Or maybe this isn't even reality. It's gonna turn into like an AI digital world.
Bruh.
Like that movie.
Bruh.
Are we already in that?
Yeah,
That's
maybe
what we're
we are.
saying. I'm
That's
a
what
little
saying. Maybe
I'm
we
a
are.
little concerned, Byron. Like, he's got me questioning life over here. There are cracks in the matrix here that I'm seeing.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in the Matrix now. We're getting close. When are we plugging in, Byron? What's the engineering to plug a brain in to the system? Like a human brain into the AI system. Is that possible from an engineering standpoint?
Neuralink that Elon Musk's got is going to be connecting brains in there. Somebody else actually connected their brain to Google like 4 or 5, 3 years ago, something like that. And so you could basically Google anything.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's kind of crazy.
So really, I was reading a little bit about how the brain works. So scientists still don't know how, we talk about artificial intelligence, AI, the computer, like how it processes everything, right? It's all these neural communications essentially, or electronic communications in the computer. Well, a human brain, advanced, neural thought, they think now that it has something to do with quantum theory and the quantum changes that occur with neural transmission of chemicals. It's weird. It's not just the chemical messengers between the neurons. It's actually the quantum states inside the different neurons they think may lead to the actual,
Communication.
your soul and, how
Wow.
you think.
Well, so
That's pretty cool.
Okay. I talked about this a couple of days ago, and I'm deep into the podcast, so most people probably didn't listen to it. But there was a part where it was talking about quantum internet. And so they've discovered a way to take quantumly entangled data packets and transmit it from one photon to another across fiber optic cables instantaneously. And so now they can do that across, I think it was 18.1 kilometers or something crazy. Like a stupid distance.
Just like instantaneous.
Instantaneous. No download speed, no ping, no nothing. It was just boom to boom.
There 1 minute and
And it's
over
over
another
here.
place.
Yeah.
Another minute.
Teleportation of data.
The exact same instant.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So they're talking about that now and going okay, not only they do it, they did it in existing infrastructure where other data was being transmitted along that same cable.
So it didn't disrupt the other.
And didn't disrupt anything. So they're like, oh, we don't even have to pay for the infrastructure.
It's already there.
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking with this. So Byron, if that happens, because we talk about this, data centers are just giant air conditioning units, right?
Yeah.
Like refrigerators, they have to be, because they have to chill all of those GPUs.
All that energy is going in.
Correct.
That energy is getting converted.
Yes. And so you got to imagine that there's data loss, and part of the reason that cables have to be so big and the power has to be so much is the fact that there's data loss.
You're pushing it along a cable.
What if it was instantaneous? Then what? Then does quantum computing become a thing? Have you studied anything on quantum computing, Byron?
So essentially, you're right. In the quantum theory is that basically there's another. I shank an atom here and another atom, 19 kilometers, 1,000 light years, whatever, shakes too.
Right.
And that's just fascinating to think that happens. Einstein actually predicted it.
Yeah. Makes your brain hurt to
Oh.
think about, though. Like, it's hard to comprehend. Because it's almost like it violates physical properties. Like, I know it doesn't, because there's some sort of like thread that connects those two things, and we don't know what that thread is, but in some distant way, they're connected to each other. But man, does that really make my head hurt when I'm trying to figure out what are all the possibilities that you could do with that.
Maybe that's because we just have human brains and not quantum brains.
That's true. Byron's got a quantum brain. I'm over here.
Yeah, we're struggling with human brains over here.
But if you think about that for a second, 100 years, 120 years, when the car was coming out and then the planes weren't available and trains weren't moving very fast, they didn't think you could go as fast with like this breaking the speed of sound. And that's broke people's minds at that point in time. So give it a few years that people will get used to this, and I think you're going to see like completely new technologies.
Hey, this is pretty cool. So I just looked it up while we're sitting here because I had to. So this is human thought. This is how they're going to get into the quantum, like computing and quantum AI. I don't know. So it's called the Orch-Or theory, ORCH-OR theory.
Okay.
It's proposed by Stuart Hameroff and Roger Penrose. It's a theory that suggests that consciousness arises from quantum computations in microtubules within brain neurons. Whoa. Says it's while controversial and not widely accepted. It theorizes that quantum processes could underpin some aspects of how we experience consciousness. And that's pretty cool.
Dude, well, think about this. Like,
That makes sense, though.
when you wake up, you're awake. Like, I mean, I know there's like the grogginess and whatever, but like your whole brain just snaps on. If you come out of anesthesia,
It's either on or off.
it's like,
ready to go.
boom, everything's going a million miles an hour and all those things. And we talk about like five senses. You don't just have five senses. You have a bunch of other senses where it's like, oh, my sense of space and time and where I am and where I'm located and my sense of balance. And yeah, there's the, things that I can touch. But you think about that, it's like your brain is talking to a neuron in your fingertip.
Yeah.
And knows where that is positioned in space. Well, how
pretty
is the
cool.
instantaneous like communication happening?
There's a little delay. You put your finger on a hot surface, it's like, takes a
Sure.
minute to burn.
But like where it is right now in space.
Oh, yeah, Yeah, because people have like mental, conditions that might have a brain mass or some other issue. They can't do that.
Yeah.
And that's like some of the tests you do.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's really cool.
But I mean, I don't know how that connects. Like, so if we don't totally comprehend how the brain works, I think that's what really holds us back from being able to comprehend how to make AI think like we think. Because we are the creator in that way. And because we are the creator, we can't endow it with
Yeah, we can't totally replicate the human brain.
right. So do you think, Byron, that in, I don't know, what do you think, 10 years, we start to get to a position where there's really thought and not just more like, there's some synthesis, but true synthesis and like creativity by a artificial brain, or what do you think?
I think in 10 years, we're going to have artificial superintelligence.
Ooh.
And so to think about the different levels, we have artificial intelligence. The next level is artificial general intelligence, which is basically the AI is smarter than the 95th percentile of anybody in any field. So smarter than 95th percentile, doctor, lawyer, engineer, electrician, whatever.
And all
That's in all fields. Whoa. That's artificial general intelligence. Some could say we're getting close to that point right now, but the execution of it is not quite there yet. And I think in 10 years, you're going to get to artificial superintelligence. The country that gets there first will own the future. And if you look at the superpowers, the U.S. versus China, China has outpaced the U.S. in naval massive construction projects. Just look at the number of railroad tracks and rail lines they built in the last 10 years compared to America. They have a math engine system that's less than 15 years old, well, the entire thing. So if you consider all that,
All right, listen.
We're listening.
I bumped the table. Sorry.
so if you consider all that, whoever wins the super intelligence game, they're going to basically be able to build weapons, spies, whatever it is, in a way that the other country will never be able to wrap their head around. And when AI superintelligence comes around, they're going to be able to solve this brain problem. They're going to be able to solve the question of landing things in the moon or whatever else. Since you're going to ask it a question, it's going to prove the existence of God and the creation of the universe.
That's crazy to think about. I mean, there is a point at which they talk about singularity being like, hey, we cross a threshold by which, like there's no coming back from. One of the thoughts was that there's a singularity that's coming in, the estimate I read was 2038, where your brain is able to be downloaded into the ether, the internet, the data center, the whatever, and essentially you are forever you. Like your soul is captured in
The program.
and you're never lost to time. You can continue to exist and think and grow and mature, but you're not a body anymore. You're
Just a virtual
your
self.
neurons in this virtual self. If this, if super intelligence happens, I think, it's in that same vein, right? It's like we've basically been able to interface perfectly with it, right? Because at that point, the communication is instantaneous and it's almost this neural quantum network amalgamous thing that we don't understand today, but we're going to incrementally make steps towards. I don't know that it's good or it's bad. It just is, right?
Think about the computer. If that happens to the computer, the initial program, why wouldn't it just gobble up all the compute power on the world just to increase its quote unquote brain size?
I mean, the Skynet at that point.
Right. I think that's what's going to happen. I think we're having a worldwide AI collapse.
Like where it sucks up everything and
Yeah,
it becomes its own.
Yep. I think it's going to become self-aware.
Yeah.
It's getting into the conspiracy theory.
Yeah, that's a little crazy territory, but it's fine.
I think they're going to create some kind of weird computer program, AI system, that becomes self-aware and self-generate and want to expand. It's the same way as we grow from a baby to an adult. It's going to be like, hey, I need more compute power in order to do this, this, and this. Or, I've solved this problem. I want to solve the next problem, but I don't have enough compute power to do that. Let me go, pirate all these computer systems across North America and take them over.
Terminator.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we're talking. Yeah. I mean, it's manifest destiny again, right? It's like, who do I don't really care who I have to run over. This is my destiny is to be this super intelligent thing.
And you worry if the entire economy is structured on the digital world, right? All your banking, all your accounting, all your AR and AP and order, this and that, every business in the planet's running computers now.
Yep.
If it sucks all that away, what are you going to do? You got to pull the plug to turn the thing off.
Well, eventually, I mean, that's the next question is power. How do you have enough power to run them?
Yeah.
You don't today. So maybe that's where it gasses out is like.
Yeah. It sucks it all out and causes a massive utility failure.
Yeah. I don't know. So Byron, I don't know if you dealt anything in that space about just how much energy a data center has to use. And I saw something you were mentioning China. They have this, forget the name of the reactor, but it's a fusion reactor and it suspends plasma to create fusion, utilizing magnetic resonance or whatever to try to suspend plasma in a middle space that then they hope develops a self-sustaining fusion reaction. Well, it just hit the record. I doubled its last record of how long it stayed active, but it's still nowhere near self-sustaining reaction. Do you think we get to that point in our lifetime? Let's say I'm 37. Let's say 2 decades. Are we on fusion reactors at that point? What do you think? I mean, if super intelligence comes, maybe that's the
I
case.
think it was stupid. You just nailed it. Once super intelligence comes, a lot of these problems areas, I think we start expediting that. I think if you look at the development of technology and look at over the last 100 years, and you see the exponential growth of it, I think we just continue that exponential delay.
Yeah, the AI starts solving all the problems that we don't even know quite yet what question to ask.
Yeah.
It starts finding out solutions and answers to things we're like, oh wow, that's amazing. I didn't know that could be a thing.
And then we are all on subsidized living.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, we're grunts at that point. Like we're the cogs in the machine. If it doesn't want to build a robot to do it, we do. We're all kind of, on universal basic income or whatever you want to call that. And we're just the cogs that, it's interesting to
Of course,
think
people
about.
still have to have their hair done and makeup done.
Do
Go to
they?
the shop. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe we go full Wally and we're all just rolling around in this little
Full Wally.
Yeah, we're just floating around in our
Eating
little trash heaps.
eating your little gumbo drink or whatever it's called.
Whatever that thing was. That was a
Slurpee thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like all your caloric needs for the day and make you extra fat. That's awesome.
No, I think if you had to pick some apps that you think people should go check out, Byron, what would those be?
For AI basis, you've nailed it already. It was DeepSeek and ChatGPT.
Do you think any of the other AI assistants or apps that people have built or developed really, answer any need that you can't get from those? I mean, I think of like Motion, for example, as an app that I keep getting served an ad about. And it's like, hey, let me help you plan your week. It's kind of cool. Yeah, and it's like, I'll look at,
You tell it what you do, and it's like, hey, you should do this first.
yeah, like if you got emails or whatever, you forward the emails to it and it kind of finds a slot for you to put that like required time on your calendar. I haven't interviewed.
You've got to realize
Go ahead.
the majority of stuff like that actually is just if-then statement that somebody wrote and paid before, and then they just call it AI.
Yeah.
When AI came out and ChatGPT came out in the following months, all these people said, "Oh, we have AI." It's just a marketing point. That if we fix that, they wrote their own algorithm to be able to solve your weekly plan and put stuff together. They're not actually connected to an AI.
Got it. Yeah, I kind of figured it was kind of half tail, let's just say half cooked, half baked, however you want to say that. It wasn't true artificial intelligence. And I do think there is that line that it's gray to us as the layman person, as algorithm versus AI.
Mm-hmm.
Because the truth is, if you just want to talk about something that's learning patterns and behaviors, the algorithm for Amazon to suggest you what to buy has done a really good job. And it's very sophisticated and it looks almost like AI. But
hey, a lot of our human behaviors on a day-to-day basis essentially have been algorithm programmed based on our jobs and what we're trying to do during the day, and the responses we get from people we interact with, and what kind of,
it doesn't really need, and that goes back to, I guess, the computational power and the kind of levels to it, right? Like if you want to call that ChatGPT 0.1,
it's like habit number one. Like, this is your daily habits.
You're going to do it. And you're really not even thinking because you're technically on autopilot. You are algorithmically driven to wake up and I brush my teeth, or I wake up and I start breakfast, or I put my coffee on, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You're not really thinking. You're on autopilot.
Yeah. You're just cruising at that point.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of, a good way to compare it for us, right? Like,
kind of where it's at right now to some degree.
Yeah. And then AI, like ChatGPT 4 maybe, or 4.0, is really doing some actual thinking.
Yeah.
Or OpenSeek is, as you said, giving us a chain of thought and walking us through how you would really logic out a problem like you'd never approached it before. Like, oh, I don't know the answer to this riddle.
Yeah.
And I'm not just going to be able to regurgitate and trained response. I've actually got to think through the riddle.
Now, we've started using AI a little bit in our workplace. I've just been playing with it right now. So we do medical scribes where, it'll listen to, or it can, you can have it on your computer, listen to the interaction between somebody in a patient room. And then, we could be shooting the bull about, hey, your kids played sports this weekend. Hey, how'd they do? That's awesome. And how they won, cool. And then how's everything else going? Great. Business is doing well. Yeah. You keep going, okay, what brings you here? You go through and just talk a little bit about it. Well, dude, they have an AI system now, just like a medical assistant that will listen to your conversation, generate a transcription of it, and then compute a synopsis, just a medically related synopsis of what you talked about. It'll get rid of all the garbage in there, all the miscellaneous chit chat, and it'll pare it down to just the core.
Do you know
information?
what program that's built on? Do you think it's built on like OpenAI, ChatGPT?
Yeah, I'm sure it's all. Yeah, I think they all probably, get back to those API calls where they're calling back to the main, one of the big players in the system, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I think like Opus Clips and these others that we're using for editing here are probably more algorithmic and less actual true AI.
Yeah. But it's pretty cool. It'll give you recommendations like diagnoses and medical. It'll say,
So that one's probably doing some real thinking.
It's doing some thinking. Like, give me some ideas. I was like, I hadn't thought about that. It's pretty good.
That's awesome. Well, Byron, if you could leave any advice for anybody, go ahead.
One of the things just to look at what ChatGPT has done in their image creation over the past year and a half. A year and a half ago, you asked for it and create an image. And that image might have like a logo on a shirt. And it would put up like some words on it that looked like it was Greek. It wasn't actually legible English. If you go create something today, I would say someplace around 70% of the words that get put on there, if you tell it what it wants to do, it will actually create what you're looking for. So I was asking for for a book cover of something, a book I want to write, and it actually used the right book cover and words for the title. And a year ago, it wouldn't have done that. So there's massive improvements, and AI is only going to get better as each and every day, the year goes by. And it's similar to Google. For those that were around when Google first came around, there was a skill that you had to develop of actually how to Google something. And everybody should be using AI in some form of their life and just figure out how to use it, whether it's for the men, how to talk to their wives a little sweeter and nicer, or clean up any hair.
No, I love that.
That's pretty cool.
Well, that's great advice, Byron, and we appreciate you jumping on, even though you're driving down the road and spending some time with us. I'm sure we've got more to talk about.
Thanks for testing the remote podcast while driving. That's pretty cool.
Anytime, guys. Thanks, Court.
Hey, next time you're in town, let's go grab some food and let's come back up here and talk again.
Well, Nick.
Thanks, brother. Take care.
Thanks, Byron. See you about.
That's the H2 show. Sign it off.